If you ask 10 different witches what does it mean to be a witch, you'll get 16 different answers. I've heard it said that there are as many kinds of witches as there are people who consider themselves to be witches. The fact of the matter is, a witch can kind of be whatever they want. Part of the point of being a witch is to play by your own rules. So of course, we're all special and unique in our own ways. This podcast episode is an exploration of what makes a witch from my perspective and some ideas on the definition of magic. My path and practice are ever changing, but the one definition that seems to always ring true for me is that being a witch is about taking energetic responsibility for the direction of one's own life. It's about being aware of the delicate dance between our own power of will and the seemingly chaotic flow of universal energies. It's about seeing that we are intelligent, but we're also part of nature and therefore must figure out how to live in harmony with it while still feeling a sense of sovereignty and purpose. Unlike many in the witchy, pagan, New Age community, my practice is really not based around veneration of any particular god or goddess. I don't so much work with spirits or ancestors or fairies either, at least not in a very literal sense. My spirit guides are pretty much A, the universe at large, which I think of as one big divinely intelligent thing. B, my own higher self, the non-ego part of myself that's intrinsically connected to the all. And C, any kindred spirits, human, animal, plant, elemental energy that helps teach me along my path. To me, the universe is one big thing, and each of us is just a cell in that organism, so to say. In my perspective, which is always subject to change, by the way, there are some universal truths, and I put that in quotes, because for the most part, I believe that all beliefs are temporary means to an end. That end is putting things into context to feel a sense of purpose and connection to the overall flow of the universe. That can take a million different forms because it's all completely contingent on our own personal experiences and perspective. I do tend to believe in the Hermetic principles, including the law of attraction, so I feel that our beliefs attract evidence to support our personal growth. By knowing that belief is a temporary tool to aid us along the journey of mystery, it liberates us from falling too far into limiting belief systems. I guess in order to find witch, I also have to touch upon the meaning of the term magic, spelled M-A-G-I-C-K. Again, this is another one that has 1,000,001 meanings, but for myself, I've sort of simplified it into the phrase, magic is the power to write your own story. Along my journey, I discovered my magic when I became fed up with having my life dictated to me by others or by my own past limiting stories and belief systems. I stepped into my own power when I realized that every day is a new rebirth with the possibility to change my patterns for the better. Sure, co-creating with the universe can be tricky, but being magical is about owning my role as a co-creator of my own reality. Rather than playing the martyr or the victim as I had done earlier in my life, I found my magic when I decided to fully own my responsibility for where I was at in life. And while we're here, let's discuss the ever-popular phrase, co-creating with the universe. When I say that I'm a pagan witch, but that I don't really work with personified deity or spirits, people often wonder what exactly I mean. Well, I work with a combination of energy and psychology. I'm quote-unquote woo-woo enough to acknowledge the idea that energy is a thing, but I'm also logical enough to know that the only way to work with that energy in order to manifest an intention is to use wisdom and take action. For me, magic is about knowing myself, knowing the universe, and working in tandem with the natural energies to steer my life where I desire for it to go. I'm humble enough to understand that my ego identity is just a tiny part of this giant machine, but I'm also sovereign enough to recognize that I am part of the universe, and therefore, I am a goddess. Mine may be just one of many universal perspectives, but the universe expands through my experience, and so I've chosen to own that honorable position. I believe we are all gods in human form. I'm interested in studying the spirituality, history, and science of every culture, but no one pre-established religious or spiritual system has ever fully been the be-all, end-all of truth for me. My path is always one of exploration and expansion. My ultimate goal in life is to overcome my own perceived shortcomings and leave a sort of breadcrumb trail for others to raise their level of wisdom, happiness, health, and fulfillment in their own way. It's when we dare to dream and take action on that dream by working in harmony with the universal energies around us that true magic happens. Did you enjoy this episode of the Alchemy of Affluence podcast? If so, I would love to invite you to join our growing magical community over on Patreon. There, I post customized reflection prompts for each of the new and full moons of the year, as well as for the themes of each Sabbath on the Wheel of the Year. You get access to beautiful printable writing pages for your spiritual journal, grimoire, or book of shadows. And you get to join in the discussion with myself and other magical mavens as we navigate the plant, tend, harvest, compost cycle together. If you're ready to start or simplify your magical practice while getting grounded in how to actually work with the seasons, moon phases, astrology, and divination tools to experience more fulfillment in your everyday life, then the Writing Witch Patreon community is where you want to be. To learn more, go to writingwitch.com and click on Patreon from the main menu, or just go to www.patreon.com/thewritingwitch. See you there! So what does being a witch mean to you, and what is your definition of magic? In the first several years of the Alchemy of Affluence podcast, I always asked my guests these questions, and it led to so many interesting discussions. So I would love to hear from you in the comments. And I've actually created a video that's a compilation of some of my favorite definitions of witch and magic from years of the podcast. So I've linked that for you right here.